Good morning. Welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Merritt. Here we are on day 161 of 2025. And this is sort of a continuum of stories from the King of the Wind, because I'm now telling stories about his descendants, the horses that he sired in one way or another. And so Seabiscuit was one of these horses. Man of War was another one of these horses, which I'm going to tell you about in some days to come. Seabiscuit was the grandson of Man of War, and one of his most prestigious races was against War Admiral, which was a son of Man of War. Now, War Admiral had won the Triple Crown. That's 3 races that are held in the U.S. And if all 3 of those races are won, then that horse becomes a Triple Crown winner for that year. It's the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont, and I can't remember the name of the other race right now. Horrible that I'm not. Anyway, the owner of War Admiral, he really thought that Seabiscuit was far beneath War Admiral, and that was kind of a waste of time. But Charles Howard, the owner of Seabiscuit, just pestered him and publicly just went after the owner of War Admiral until he finally conceded, but on his own terms. The race was to be won at his own place, his own racetrack, and it would just be the 2 of the horses running. There would be no mechanical devices to hold the horses. They would just be lining up at a rope. A flag would be dropped, and off they would go. So Tom Smith, Seabiscuit's trainer, and John Pollard, or also known as Red, and Charles Howard prepared for this race in a number of ways that was new. Tom Smith, which I'm going to have to tell you more about as well, he had some unconventional training methods, not in a bad way, in kind of an unusual and good way. One of the things that he did was War Admiral was known to get off to a fast start. And so fast a start that Tom, Charles, and Red were all concerned that Seabiscuit would be so far behind that he would just not want to run the race. So they had to figure out a way for Seabiscuit to take off at the line, which he typically didn't. He was kind of a slow starter. The start of the race was to be with a bell and then a flag drop as well. And so what Tom Smith did is he went and bought a bell from a fire station. They took the bell, and in the evening, in the night, when no one was there to witness it, Red Pollard on Seabiscuit's back, Tom Smith with a bell, they'd ring the bell. At the same time the bell was rung, Red Pollard would lightly touch Seabiscuit's rump with his whip. Now, Red Pollard never used the whip like some jockeys do. He only used it as a prompt. Now, I can guarantee you that you can smack a horse on the rump pretty daggone hard and it really doesn't hurt them. But anyway, the more gentle approach is by far the best. And you can use these wands or whips as prompts as opposed to whipping an animal. And you'll see good horse people using these prompts in such a way. So anyway, they spent hours training Seabiscuit to start in a new and different way. Ringing the bell, using that small whip as a prompt, so that Seabiscuit would take off at the beginning of this race that he was going to have with War Admiral. Now, there was an unfortunate event that happened shortly after these training sessions, which was that Red Pollard was asked by a friend to train or to ride one of his horses, because Red Pollard was very well known as, kind of a premier jockey. And if Red Pollard was seen riding one of his horses, he figured it would help him to be a little bit more in the limelight. So Red Pollard went ahead and did this. And in our next story, I'll tell you what happened.